Hi, folks. I had a couple of students this week who asked me a question which I thought was an interesting one. They basically wanted to know whether the Industrial Revolution of the late 19th century was a good thing or not, which is an honest question to ask. Unfortunately, I didn't have a clear-cut answer for that. It was good in some ways and damaging and destructive in others. And I would say that today we are clearly the beneficiaries of many of the advances and innovations of the Industrial Revolution of the 19th century. But at the time, of course, people paid a heavy price for that progress. And a lot of what was going on, it's hard to characterize as being good. For example, following the American Civil War, business in the United States underwent significant consolidation. You saw the rise of robber barons and huge corporations which became monopolies that choked off competition. Most economists today agree that that's not a good development for a society or for consumers. Child labor is legal in that period. Many of the industrial jobs were dangerous, and there was no OSHA, there was no inspection or standards to protect the lives and health of workers. And so by the end of the century, there was an average of about 1 million industrial accidents a year in the United States. The industrialization process resulted in massive pollution and damage to the environment that we're still living with today. On the other hand, if you consider all the good things that came from industrialization, who wants to wash their clothing in a cast iron tub with lye soap, taking hours to wash clothing by hand and run it through a wringer and hang it up by hand to dry? Back in the 19th century, before washing machines, women spent at least a day simply doing the family wash. And today we throw our clothes into a washer, then into the dryer, then you're pretty well done. You just put it away. Who wants to cook over a wood stove? Who wants to live in a house lit by kerosene lamps? Unless you're one of a small number of modern day religious groups like the older Amish and Mennonites, most of us prefer to flick a switch and turn on the lights. So technology and industrialization are both good and bad, and I think you really have to weigh the question carefully. And again, we're past many of the worst aspects of the Industrial Revolution. Today, people talk about bringing back industrial jobs, and I have mixed feelings about that. Hours and hours of repetitive, boring, monotonous labor arguably isn't a good way for people to spend their lives. And today we have robots to do a lot of that. So maybe the industry of the future will be cleaner, and people will be managing the robots. Have a great weekend, what's left of it, and I'll be reading your writing this coming week.